This is the Barbados Today morning news for Monday, September 16. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. Our top story, police continue their crackdown on illegal guns entering the island. On Sunday, lawmen destroyed a number of seized firearms that were in their custody. The operation was done at the Central Police Station. Police spokesman, Acting Inspector Rodney Innes, was unable to give an exact number of the firearms being destroyed yesterday, but he told reporters that so far this year, 68 guns have been seized.
These firearms came into police custody. They were either seized, they were either part of the gun amnesty that we had earlier, or they were part of cases that have been adjudicated, where persons have been obviously charged and the matter disposed of. And we've been given permission to dispose of these firearms. For this year, 2019, we've seized 68 firearms, various calibers, for various reasons. And this is outside the number of firearms seized during the amnesty that was held.
Innes also addressed concerns over the prolonged closure of the Department of Certificate of Character. He says he is aware of the inconvenience it has been causing, and he hopes the department will be reopened soon.
It's been going around 2 weeks now that the Certificate of Character has been out of service. We have sent out the necessary media notices on Facebook and all the other social media we've sent out. Yes, it has caused considerable disruption. We know that we do at least 100 odd applications every day when it's open, and we know it's affecting students at UWI universities, job-related matters, persons who have interviews. We know how serious the matter is, and we kind of sympathize with what's happening. We are trying our best to get it up to speed. As soon as it's up to speed, we'll inform the public. But yes, we are aware. We've asked persons to call the Certificate of Character Department to find out if they could have still collected their certificates, which were done prior to the breakdown. And that number is 430-7677.
The Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry says businesses in the retail and distribution sectors have suffered significant loss of revenue from the transition to ASYCUDA world, as they have been unable to replenish their stock in a timely manner. And the BCCI is warning that the increased costs that businesses are incurring as a result could trickle down to consumers. Last week, Comptroller of Customs Owen Holder gave assurances that the teething problems would soon be resolved, and Small Business Minister Dwight Sutherland said the challenges will not last. A statement from the Chamber said they have been in dialogue with the Customs Department to outline their concerns. The Comptroller of Customs has also designated a member of the ASYCUDA World Project team to serve as a liaison with the BCCI to respond to the issues, challenges and concerns raised by its members. The BCCI says it is also hoping that shipping companies and the Barbados port relax some of the associated costs during the transition to ASYCUDA World, given the impact on the business sector and the potential impact on the cost of goods. Acting Health Minister Kay McConney is encouraging Barbadians to pursue a healthy lifestyle. She made the call on the weekend at an event to mark Caribbean Wellness Day. Senator McConney says too many people are suffering from preventable conditions caused by non-communicable diseases.
Just before I came here, I was at a meeting at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and one of the things that was said, and it was such a shocking thing, is that 1 out of 3 people who go into the accident and emergency and who then had to be admitted for some of the chronic non-communicable diseases, such as diabetes and cardiac and other cardiac complications, such as heart complications. Renal disease is now becoming something that is very significant as well, and it is important for us to know that we can take care of ourselves before we get to that place. This year's theme is all about aging and looking after yourselves now and understanding. One thing is that we are all aging from the day we were born.
A zone of vulnerability and devastation. That is how Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, has described the Abaco Islands and Grand Bahama in the wake of Hurricane Dorian. Earlier this month, the Category 5 hurricane battered the islands for 2 days, leaving behind a trail of death and destruction. Sir Hilary and teams from the UWI have been in the affected islands and are working with the government in Nassau to assist in recovery efforts. Addressing the Chancellor's Forum on the hurricane response in the Bahamas, he said while the Caribbean has a long history of hurricanes, the most vulnerable communities are often the worst affected.
Here in Abaco, what you actually saw is a very large community of working people, poor people, living in a community which is called mud. And it's called mud for a reason, because it's really a plain of mud on which these poor people, thousands of poor people, have built their homes, many of them shanties. So here is a very large community of poor people in the worst possible environment. But these are people who are building their homes on what is left over, what is left available to them because they are poor, creating the most vulnerable situation. And thus, history of colonization have rendered these people to be associated with environments that really, really are not suited for habitation.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. In news from the region, forecasters have warned Bermuda that strengthening tropical storm Humberto is a potential threat to the island after it moved north of the Bahamas. The storm is expected to be around 230 miles west of Bermuda by midday on Wednesday as a Category 2 hurricane. Bermuda's Emergency Measures Organization said it has begun to monitor the track of Humberto. The Minister of National Security, Wayne Keynes, said the EMO is prepared and stands ready to convene should the weather system's forecasted track pose a threat to the island. The Bermuda Weather Service said Humberto would bring dangerous sea conditions to the island. On the weekend, the storm lashed parts of the Bahamas that were already devastated by Hurricane Dorian earlier this month. And the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres visited the Bahamas to support humanitarian efforts in the wake of Dorian, which hit as a Category 5 storm that left thousands in need of food, water, and shelter. The list of missing stands at 1,300 people, and the official death toll has so far been given at 50. But officials caution that the list is preliminary and many people could just be unable to connect with loved ones. On the international scene, concerns over global oil supply and soaring tensions in the Middle East following an attack on the weekend. We have more in this report from Reuters.
The drone attacks on Saudi Arabia's Aramco oil plants on Saturday may knock out more than half of the country's oil output. The state-run company says the strikes mean production will be cut by 5.7 million barrels per day. That's more than 5% of the world's crude supply. And all of this comes at a time when Aramco is gearing up for a stock market listing. But stocks fell sharply on Sunday, and the decline has extended a losing spree, which in recent weeks have been hit by expensive valuations, weak oil prices and concerns about the economic outlook. Aramco gave no timeline for when output would resume. A source told Reuters the return to full oil capacity could take weeks, not days. Yemen's Houthis, which are backed by Iran, said they were behind the attacks on Al Masirah TV on Saturday. But US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo accused Iran of being directly responsible.
And that's news this morning, but for the very latest, you can visit our website www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good morning.